atrial flagellates.
Can you see it now?
Yes po,
This
Doc.
presentation is about atrial flagellates. Atrial flagellates are under the class Somaspigophorea. At least are infecting, namely Giardia duodenalis, also known as Giardia lamblia or Giardia intestinalis, Chylomastix misnelli, Dientamoeba fragilis, Trichomonas hominis, Trichomonas vaginalis, which can be found in urogenital tract, and Trichomonas tenax, which can be found in the mouth. Generally, atrial flagellates are described to have one to several long, delicate, thread-like extensions of the cytoplasm called flagella in their trophozoite form, except the Dientamoeba fragilis, which has pseudopodia instead. Giardia duodenalis, Chylomastix misnelli, and Dientamoeba fragilis exist in the cyst and trophozoite forms, although in the case of the latter organism, the Dientamoeba fragilis, which is the most controversial in all of the flagellates, by the way, its cyst is rarely observed in the stool compared to its trophozoite, which is the reason why it is always considered that it only exists in trophozoite form. Whereas in the recent study shows by the CDC, it exists in both forms. While the trichomonads, on the other hand, namely Trichomonas hominis, Trichomonas vaginalis, and Trichomonas tenax, they only exist in the trophozoite form. Among the 6 organisms mentioned, Giardia duodenalis, Dientamoeba fragilis, and Trichomonas vaginalis are said to be pathogenic. The rest are non-pathogenic or commensal. The first organism is the cyst of Giardia duodenalis, also known as Giardia lamblia or Giardia intestinalis. It is approximately 8 to 12 by 7 to 10 micrometers in size, and it is described as ovoid shape or pear shape. It has a finely granular cytoplasm that is clearly separated from the cyst wall, thus resulting to a retracted cytoplasm appearance, which, at least for our purposes here at FEUNRMF, will serve as the diagnostic feature of this organism for easy identification. If the organism is a young cyst, it has 2 nuclei, while mature ones have 4. It is also provided with axonemes, which appear as 4 pairs of curved bristles, usually dark in color if stained, and can be found in the cytoplasm in between the nuclei. This is an unstained microscopic view of the cyst of Giardia duodenalis under the high power objective. The left side picture is the actual view of the organism, while the right side picture is the enlarged image for proper description of the organism. It is ovoid in shape or pear-shaped. Take note of the finely granular cytoplasm on the side, which clearly separated from the cyst wall, thus resulting to the so-called retracted cytoplasm appearance, which again, for our purposes, will serve as the diagnostic feature of this organism. because in some other materials, it will be the other structures which may be hard to identify. Note, however, in this slide are the axonemes, which are described as curved bristles. They usually dark in color and located in the cytoplasm in between of the nuclei. The next organism is the trophozoite form of Giardia duodenalis. It is bilaterally and symmetrically pear-shaped with rounded anterior, attenuated posterior, and convex dorsal side. It is approximately 9 to 21 by 5 to 15 by 2 to 4 micrometers in size. On its ventral part, it has a shallow concavity called the sucking disc with a notch posterior. This is being used for the attachment of the organism, thus it can resist the natural peristalsis of the intestine. It is provided with two spherical or oval nuclei with a large central karyosome lying in the sucking disc at the anterior portion of the body, producing the so-called ventral and posterior part. It is also provided with parabasal bodies, usually two, and described as slightly curved, sausage-shaped, and lying transversely or obliquely just posterior to the sucking disc. This is a stained microscopic view of the trophozoite of Giardia duodenalis under the oil immersion objective. It is pear-shaped with rounded anterior, attenuated posterior, and convex dorsal side. Notice the shallow concavity called the sucking disc with a notch posterior. The two spherical or oval nuclei with large central karyosome lying in the sucking disc at the anterior portion of the body are prominent, thereby exhibiting the so-called old man with eyeglasses appearance. The flagella are somehow prominent, 4 pairs of it located at the anterior, lateral, ventral, and posterior part. The motility, if in the living state, is somewhat erratic, with slow oscillation along the long axis, producing the so-called falling leaf or gliding kite-like motion. This is a trophozoite of Chylomastix mesnili. It is approximately 6 to 20 by 3 to 10 micrometers in size, sometimes 10 to 20 micrometers. It is described as pear-shaped, asymmetric due to spiral groove at the posterior end. The nucleus is located at medial to the anterior, and it is with a small distinct karyosome. The cytostome, located at one side of the nucleus, is well defined, with both ends rounded and constricted at the middle part, thus described as hourglass-shaped. It is provided with 3 flagella, 2 of which are short and 1 which is long. However, it has a 4th delicate one which is located in the cytostome. The cytoplasm is provided with granular and with numerous food vacuoles. This is a stained microscopic view of Chylomastix mesnili trophozoite under the oil immersion objective. It is pear-shaped and asymmetric. The nucleus is at the medial to the anterior, and it is with small distinct caryosome. Although the cytostome is not visible, it is usually located at one side of the nucleus, and with both ends rounded and constricted, thus resulting the so-called hourglass-shaped appearance. It is provided with 3 flagella, 2 of which are short and 1 which is long. A fourth delicate one is located in the cytostome. The cytoplasm is provided with granular and with numerous food vacuoles. This is a chilomastic Smith-Snelli trophozoite exhibiting a corkscrew or boring motion. It rotates along its longitudinal axis due to the spiral groove at its posterior end. This is chilomastic Smith-Snelli cyst. It is approximately 7 to 10 by 4 to 6 micrometers in size, commonly described as pear or lemon shape due to a protrusion in the portion of the cell wall resulting to a nipple-like projection, thus the term lemon-shaped cyst. The granular cytoplasm is usually separated from the wall at the narrower end. It has a single, large vesicular nucleus, but rarely it has 2. And the cytostome, which is present in the cytoplasm. This is a microscopic view of chilomastic Smith-Snelli cyst under the high-power objective. It is described as pear-shaped or lemon-shaped due to the protrusion of a portion of the cell wall resulting to a nipple-like projection. It is with large, single vesicular nucleus, although the cytostome here is not visible. The next organism is Trichomonas vaginalis. It only exists in trophozoite form, thus the infective and pathogenic stage are in the same form. It is also the only pathogenic in all of the trichomonads, which can be found usually in the vagina, cervix, and even in the prostate. It is approximately 7 to 23 by 5 to 12 micrometers in size and described as pear-shaped. Its nucleus is said to be large, oval-shaped, and situated at the anterior part. It is provided with rigid axostyle on one side, and on the opposite is a thin, undulating membrane. The cytoplasm is filled with numerous siderophil granules. This is the diagnostic feature of this organism. It has 4 to 5 flagella located at the anterior part, with the last one often adherent to the undulating membrane. This is a stained microscopic view of Trichomonas vaginalis under the oil immersion objective. Its nucleus is large, oval in shape, and situated at the anterior part. It is provided with rigid axostyle on one side, and on the opposite is a thin, undulating membrane. The cytoplasm, again, is filled with numerous siderophil granules. Again, this is the diagnostic feature of this organism. It has 4 to 5 flagella located at the anterior part, with the last one often adherent to the undulating membrane. In fresh specimen, the motility is described as jerky tumbling motion. The next organism is Dianthemima fragilis trophozoite. While it also exists in the cyst form, it will no longer be discussed because the cyst form is rarely seen in the stool. It is approximately 5 to 12 micrometers, sometimes 3 to 18, or even 3 to 22 micrometers in diameter, with distinct ectoplasm and endoplasm. The pseudopodia are described as hyaline, lobus, angular, broad, or leaf-like with serrated margin in appearance. It has 1 to 2, rarely 3 or 4 nuclei, and the caryosome consists of 4 to 8 beads or granules, representing the incomplete binary fission, commonly described as tetracoccyc or fragmented. This is a stained specimen of Dianthemiba fragilis tropozoite. The pseudopodia are described as hyaline, lobus, angular, broad, or leaf-like with serrated margin in appearance. It has 1 or 2 nuclei, and the caryosome consists of 4 to 8 beads or granules, thereby described as tetracoccyc or fragmented caryosome. This ends the presentation for
Okay, class. Do you have any questions from the earlier presentation?
None so far.
Sige. So let me share you this one naman. So this is just to reiterate what has been shown from the video presentation earlier. So we discussed about the atrial flagellates, which belongs to the Zoomastigophorhea. Excuse me. So atrial flagellates are the ones that would inhabit the viscous or luminal organs as compared to the hemoflagellates, which is another topic for discussion in the laboratory. So for the atrial, since atrials are called atrial, it will be present in the luminal organs. And as mentioned earlier, some species will have both the cysts and the tropozoites, while others will have tropozoites only. And since this is mainly a luminal inhabits the viscous organ, they are mainly transmitted via the oral route or the direct route compared to the hemoflagellates, which would live in the blood, of course, and is described with different stages of development. So you'll go into details now on the next topic for the hemoflagellates, but they both belong to the Zoomastigophorhea. So as you saw earlier, the Georgia lamblia is one of the atrial flagellate. So this is size, it's about 8 to 12 micrometer by 7 to 10 micrometer. It has 2 to 4 nuclei, and diagnostic of which is the presence of the retracted cytoplasm, as well as the presence of this curved bristle-like refractile axoneme. In an unstained form, you'll find it just like this, but this is actually the ones that is being pointed as the retracted cytoplasm, and then this one is the axoneme. This is what you will actually see in the laboratory. Now, for atrial flagellates, for Giardia lamblia stain, no, it's still, no, the retracted cytoplasm is visible. But the cell wall are not seen, no, due to the level of focus of, no, the specimen. But then again, no, you'll find here, no, the nucleus or the nuclei, no, the 2 to 4 nuclei and its axoneme. Now, the trophozoite form of Giardia lamblia appears like this one. So it's actually described, if you've heard earlier, as an old man fascie, no? This is a racket shape with broad, rounded anterior and tapered posterior part. And on its anterior part, you'll find the 2 vesicular nuclei, the presence of a sucking disc, no, at the anterior and ventral part, the 2 parallel axonemes on its mid-ventral part, no, with sausage shape, parabasal body at about its mid. The presence of these 4 pairs of flagella, which mainly, no, serves as the locomotive part, no, giving the trophozoite, no, the leaf-like gliding kite-like motion. Okay. So in a stained specimen, no, you'll find that you'll see, no, the flagella, and it is very visible, no, to have the so-called, no, old man fascie with eyeglasses look. Okay. In an unstained specimen, which you'll see in the laboratory, no, you will find these 2. It's shaped as racket-like, no, and the 2 nuclei. Now, this one is a scanning electron microscope view of the trophozoites attached, no, in the duodenum with the use of their sucking disc. So this actually would create, no, a physical or mechanical barrier, and therefore would prevent absorption of fats, no, that leads later on to the characteristic steatorrheic stool, no, or the oily or fatty stool. Okay? Now, trophozoites are non-tissue invaders. They act only as physical hindrance, no, to fat absorption, but it can enter the opening of the common bile duct, which later on leads to the development also of jaundice. Another member, no, of the Zoomastigophorhea atrial flagellates is the Chylomastix mesnelii. This is described as lemon shape, no, due to a nipple-like protrusion, no, on this part, which it serves to be diagnostic of this specimen. So there is a nucleus, but you rarely see it to have 2 nuclei, but it's possible, no? This one is the cytostome near the nucleus with a retracted flagellum inside. In an unstained specimen, the nipple-like projection is visible. The same, no, in a stained specimen. Okay, so remember, no, that compared to Giardia lamblia earlier, this one, no, inhabits the large intestine. Okay. Now, the trophozoite form under oil immersion objective would appear to have a rounded anterior part and a tapered asymmetric posterior part. It will have 4 flagella on the anterior part, or 2 pairs, an hourglass-shaped cytostome, vacuolated. Now you see the different vacuoles within the cytoplasm. Since it has its flagella also, no, this trophozoite is very motile. They will have spiraling or rotating motion, no, rotating along a longitudinal axis, or the so-called corkscrew-like motion. Now take note, no, that the diagnostic part of this specimen or this trophozoite is the presence of the spiral groove. Okay? So in a stained specimen, now you'll find, again, no, the large anterior nucleus and the spiral groove, no, that makes the posterior part asymmetric. Okay? Another member of the atrial flagellates are the Trichomonas species, which exist in trophozoite form only. No, the species includes Tenax, hominis, and vaginalis. Of course, it depends on where you find these different parasites. So in the mouth, you'll find Trichomonas tenax. It's transmissible through thinking glasses and utensils, while the hominis, it's a commensal of the large intestine and acquired through ingestion of infected food or water, while Trichomonas vaginalis will serve to be transmitted through sexual contact, and it lives in the mucosa of the cervix, the vaginal walls, the urethra, and the epididymis. So majority of the female would manifest with leukorrhea or vaginitis, and presence of exudates consisting of mucus, spot cells, etc. And the cervix appear to have a strawberry appearance due to the inflammation with pus on the surface. In males, it would manifest as a mild urethritis, manifesting as frequent non-painful small amount urination. So, the trophozoite form of Trichomonas vaginalis is pear-shaped. It has a single large oval-shaped nucleus at the anterior part. It has a rigid axostyle. The cytoplasm is filled with this numerous siderophil granules, which functions to absorb iron in the hosts. The flagella has 4 to 5, or the flagella in the anterior part, is about 4 to 5 in numbers, and they do have this undulating membrane. Compared to the other atrial flagellates, this one will have a jerky, tumbling motion. Okay? So in the stained form, you'll find it like this one. This thin membranes here is actually the flagella. So this one is the nucleus, the axostyle, and the specimen of choice in order to record this organism would be the trophozoite, and then it can also be isolated or diagnosed in females who undergone pap smears. And always remember that in treating Trichomonas vaginalis, you should include the male partner of the infected female. Otherwise, it will cause a ping-pong infection. Okay? Dianthamiba fragilis is another trophozoite, another atrial flagellate existing in trophozoite. It's irregular in shape due to the short and blunt pseudopodia. The nucleus has 1, 2, or 4 with fragmented or tetracoxic karyosome like this ones. This is actually diagnostic of this parasite. The cytoplasm also is vacuolated. This is actually the food vacuoles. And compared to other atrial flagellates, this will have a sluggish motility. Okay? So again, you'll find the trophozoite in the stained specimen. They do have in here a binucleated and fragmented karyosome. Okay? So it's pathogenic, but it's not a tissue-invading organism and may only cause irritation of the intestinal wall, leading to also a mucoid watery diarrhea. So this is mucoid. For Giardia, it's steatorrheic. Okay? So that's about it. Any questions or clarification? Can you open your videos for attendance purposes so that I know you are all present? Any questions or clarifications about our topic for today? So by next week, I believe you will have a face-to-face laboratory, correct? No?
Ask ko lang po if i-upload niyo po yung PowerPoint or yung video.
Yung video.
Okay po. Thank you.
Okay, so next week you will have a face-to-face laboratory, no? This is the demo. So you check, you'll have to check all the demo to be shown in the laboratory. This will include, no, all the amoebas, the parasitic, the free-living pathogenic amoeba, as well as this topic, no, the hemoflagellates, and atrial flagellates and ciliates. Now, for hemoflagellates pala, I have to show you also kasi next week ay demo na lang kayo. Saglit. Conference kasi kami. Okay. So, I'm going to show you na lang, no, a video presentation again of the hemoflagellates and ciliates. Sorry, akala ko hanggang atrial flagellates lang tayo today. Anyway. Ganda. Yes, sa video na lang para dali. Okay, so maiksi lang naman din to. So just watch this one.
This presentation is the discussion of hemoflagellates and ciliates. Hemoflagellates, also referred as blood and tissue flagellates, inhabit the blood and/or the internal organs and are said to be vector-transmitted parasites. Species under class Somastigophorea, like the hemoflagellates, lack chromatophores, and thus they depend on ready-made foods. Generally, they are described with neuromotor apparatus that include a kinetoplast, consisting of blepharoplast and parabasal body, and an axoneme, which is part of the flagellum that is inside the cell wall. Member species of the order Kinetoplastida are disease-producing parasites, which need certain blood-sucking insects for transmission. The hemoflagellates have 4 different developmental forms: the amastigotes, the promastigotes, the epimastigotes, and the trypomastigotes. The amastigote may be round or oval in shape. It is provided with a single nucleus, a kinetoplast, but without a flagellum. This is the stage usually seen inside the host cells, such as macrophages and polymorphonucleus. The promastigote is elliptical in shape. It is singly nucleated with a kinetoplast and an axoneme and an anterior flagellum. The epimastigote is slightly curved and elliptical in shape. It is singly nucleated with undulating membrane, originating a little bit anterior to the nucleus and extends near the tip where the single flagellum is located. The trypomastigote is often curved and slender, with a single nucleus and having significant number of volutin granules in the cytoplasm. The undulating membrane runs in the entire length of the body of the organism. The kinetoplast is at the posterior end with a single flagellum at the anterior end. The first organism is the stained specimen of Leishmania donovani amastigote form. It is intracellular, usually inside the polymorphonuclear cells, monocytes, and or in endothelial cells. It is approximately 2 to 3 micrometers long, ovoid, round, or elongated in shape, sometimes called the torpedo-like form. It is provided with single nucleus, which is relatively large and could be red in color when stained. The cytoplasm is usually pale blue with a limiting membrane. The parabasal body is described as deep red violet rod-like and located at the right angle to the nucleus. It is also provided with blepharoplast, which is described as dot-like and with short thread-like axoneme connected to the cell wall. Next is the stained specimen of Trypanosoma gambiense and or Trypanosoma rhodesiense trypomastigote form. They are approximately 14 to 33 micrometers by 1.5 to 3.5 micrometers in size, usually S or W or spindle shape with pale blue granular cytoplasm and dark blue volutin granules. They are provided with single flagellum located at the anterior end. The nucleus is reddish to reddish purple, centrally located with definite nuclear membrane, and the caryosome, which is large and centrally located. The undulating membrane described as pale blue, which originated from the dark red kinetoplast and extends up to the anterior part. The next slide pertains to stained Trypanosoma cruzi trypomastigote form. It is approximately 20 micrometers long, usually C or spindle-shaped. It is provided with single flagellum located at the anterior end. The nucleus is reddish and centrally located, and with a bulging kinetoplast, usually red or violet, consists of a dot-like blepharoplast and a large oval parabasal body. The cytoplasm appears blue and with the undulating membrane described as very thin, reddish, and extends from the kinetoplast up to the anterior part. The next presentation is Ciliatae. Member species of Ciliatae, also known as ciliates, are provided with short thread-like extensions of the ectoplasmic membrane called cilia. Most ciliates have cilia in all stages of development, although there are some species that lack cilia in the definitive stage of development. The cilia beat in a coordinated rhythm, one after another, producing a wave-like motion. Because of such movement of the cilia, the organism is able to move forward in a slightly spiral path, which is due to the somewhat oblique pattern of the growth of the cilia. Reversing the beating motion of the cilia, the organism may back up and change its direction. Ciliates are characterized with large, compact-type, kidney-shaped macronucleus that divides amitottically, and a small, maybe several, spherical micronucleus that divides mitotically. The ciliates are also capable of sexual reproduction in a process called conjugation. There are two distinct stages of development among ciliates, namely the cyst and the trophozoite. The cyst has a tough and thick cell wall that is hard, although possible to be penetrated by stains. Trophozoite, on the other hand, has a thin and permeable cell wall that makes it easy for stains to go in. Most ciliates are free-living, and only one species, which is the Balantidium coli, which is able to cause disease in man. It inhabits the cecum, where the trophozoite is producing ulcers via secretion of lytic enzymes. This species is transferred from one source to another via the cyst stage. Balantidium coli is the biggest protozoa pathogenic to man. The specimen is Balantidium coli trophozoite. It is approximately 50 to 200 micrometers by 40 to 70 micrometers in size. It is ovoid with broadly rounded anterior and slightly pointed posterior in shape. It is provided with cytostome, usually cone-shaped with long cilia, situated at one side of the longitudinal axis. It has a bean or kidney-shaped compact macronucleus, which is the diagnostic characteristic of this organism, and a micronucleus near the concavity of the macronucleus. It is provided with cilia that surrounds the entire body and originated from the basal granules beneath cell membrane. It has small food and large contractile vacuoles, and with a cytophage located on the other side opposite the cytostome. The specimen is the actual stain slide of Balantidium coli trophozoite. Again, it is approximately 50 to 200 micrometers by 40 to 70 micrometers in size, usually ovoid with broadly rounded anterior and slightly pointed posterior in shape. Notice the bean or kidney-shaped compact macronucleus, which is the diagnostic characteristic of this organism. The micronucleus, although not visible, is located near the concavity of the macronucleus. The cilia surrounds the entire body, which originated from the basal granules beneath the cell membrane. This is the cyst of Balantidium coli. It is approximately 45 to 75 micrometers in size and usually is spherical in shape. The cyst wall is described as very thick. It has a large U or bean or kidney-shaped macronucleus at the center of the cytoplasm. The cilia are retracted in the inner plate of the cell wall, and the endoplasm is coarsely granulated. This is the actual specimen slide of Balantidium coli cyst. It is approximately 45 to 75 micrometers in size and usually spherical in shape. The cyst wall is described as very thick, and it has a large U or bean or kidney-shaped macronucleus at the center of the cytoplasm. And that ends the presentation for the hemoflagellates and ciliates.
Okay, class. So this will also be posted in Moodle later on, no? Mas complete actually yung video kesa dun sa papakita ko. So, never mind, just yung video na lang. Okay? So again, no, for next week, you will have your face-to-face, no, for all the topics. In the first prelim, the amoeba, parasitic, pathogenic, the Somastigophorea, no, including the atrial and the hemoflagellates. Okay? So, I'll give the rest of the hour, double laboratory hours, for you to complete, no, your manuals. Unless you have any other questions or clarifications about our discussion. No more na?
None po, Doc.
Sige. Okay. O sige, you can now log out and